Do you have a book in mind that you are dying to write, but you have no clue how to start it, let alone finish it? Chances are you are struggling with this one thing. This one reason is why you struggle to finish writing your book. If you want to know what that is, then keep watching. Hello friends, I want to start off by saying I am so sorry for the sound quality of this video. I did not realize that my adapter for my microphone was not working, so please bear with me. Hello lovelies, welcome to A Writer's Corner with me, Lisa Shimkus. I'm an author, ex-teacher, and mother of 2 little ones. In today's corner, we are discussing why you are struggling to write your book. What seems like procrastination pretty much. Is the answer to this question procrastination? No. So keep watching. There are many self-help books out there teaching you how to start and finish your book, whether you have a novel in mind, a nonfiction piece, or a movie script. However, from my own personal experiences, they don't help. And it's not because of the writing or the information, but rather my brain's functionality. You see, it took me a long time to learn that I have ADHD. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. This also falls under the neurodiversity umbrella, which to me is because this means that more and more research is being done to understand those of us whose brains don't function like the norm. However, I'm not here to teach you about neurodiversity nor how to cope with ADHD, but I do have some videos on that which you can view after this one. Instead, let's talk about procrastination, or what looks like procrastination, and what the actual problem is to you struggling to write your book. First off, what is it not? Now, I've spent years doing a lot of reading and writing, including taking writing classes and writing my own stories. But I never finished a decent piece of writing that I wanted to publish and, well, let other readers read until recently. And if I did start something that sounded great, I would lose momentum and put it away for years. I've noticed, however, that I don't procrastinate on work and chores, yet I would procrastinate on starting and finish my own writings. Why is that? How is that? Why did I procrastinate on a dream that I've been wanting to accomplish since I was a kid? I've been able to accomplish other things, such as start a teaching career, create a blog, throw myself on social media, get married, and have kids. And yet I struggled to write and finish a book and then publish it. And you may be struggling with the same question and realization. We can look at the many things that could lead to procrastination, such as the fear of failure, wanting everything to be perfect, getting overwhelmed or anxious, not being able to prioritize. All of this sounds like they stem from childhood traumas. Anyway, I've learned along the way on my writing journey that there is one thing that I kept doing that was hindering me from writing and finishing a book. And this may be your problem too. By the way, if you look at my background, you'll see there's this little end table over here that's like bluish. I wanted it to look like the TARDIS. A coworker of mine actually picked it up and painted it for me, and I have to do a bit more work to it, but it's pretty cool. If you like that, don't forget to like this video as well and share it with other writers. Let's get back to the video. This one reason you struggle to write is comparison. That's right, I've got insecurities, you've got insecurities, we all have insecurities. One of the biggest things I did was compare myself to other writers. I would see authors publishing left and right. I would see writers here on YouTube with their writing blogs, and I would compare myself to them and, well, feel not so great. At this time, I didn't have published material. I wasn't blogging. I wasn't vlogging about my writing journey. I had my writings in boxes and USBs, and none of it was completed. So I didn't want to tell anyone or show anyone. I was too ashamed to admit that I couldn't start and finish a book, and I didn't know why until recently. Because I was comparing myself to these other writers and who seemed way more accomplished than myself, I would put myself down for thinking I wasn't so great. Or so I thought. Not to mention, I'm a small YouTube channel, so that doesn't make me feel high and mighty. I realized that by comparing myself to other writers, I would be down and depressed, and I would struggle to write for several days. And you may be doing the same thing without even realizing it. You're on social media, browsing bookstores or libraries, and comparing yourself to these other writers. So what can you do about this? Because something needs to change so that you can start and finish your book and publish it. Here's my advice. So here's what I did. I stopped staring at a screen and started reading and writing. I read books in all sorts of genres, from historical romance to sci-fi fantasy. This was to start filling my head with words, story ideas, world building, plot structure, you name it. My self-talk also became more positive. If I saw an author's next book come through work, I work in a library by the way, I'd go, great for them, I'm working on a book too. And if a fellow YouTuber put up their latest writing vlog, I wouldn't click on it. I'd root for them, but I wouldn't watch their content, knowing that seeing their success can be triggering for me. And again, that would start the comparison. So what does this mean for you? If you are struggling to start and finish your book, chances are you are comparing yourself to other writers. If this is you, I have a challenge for you. Take a screen break. Get off of social media, pull out that manuscript that you started some time ago, and continue working on it. Not having social media will keep you away from any negativity, especially any negative self-talk, and it won't burn the time you could be creating something. Also read books that interest you. Read in the genre you're writing, as well as other genres that just sound cool. This will inspire you to keep writing. I know it all sounds too easy, but believe me, if it was this simple, I would have been a young author with a backlog of published material, and so would you. So after this video, I challenge you to turn off this video, turn off anything else that you're watching or staring at, pull out your old manuscript, and get started with writing. And if you're looking for something to read, here's what I'm reading. Jacoby by William Ritter. It's got this Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Who vibe to it, and to be honest, it's a little creepy, but some people like creepy. For me, I like the characters and the intrigue, as well as trying to figure out this murder mystery that is not human. So if this sounds like you, go pick up this book from your local library and get started with reading, and then start writing. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Comment below with what may be hindering you from starting and finishing your book. Also subscribe to this channel for more in the future, and I will see you there. Until then, take care and have fun reading and writing. Bye! Confession time. I have been writing since 6th grade, so a very long time. Although many of my stories will never make it to publication, I'm still very proud of them. However, I admit when I started college, I had to put writing to the side, and that's because I had to make space for reading textbooks, which are boring and very bland, and, well, my writing was bland. Granted, I was writing essays and taking tests. And I only took one fiction writing course, and I produced very, very poor writing through that course, so I would never share those pieces. I decided to go into the teaching field because I didn't want to get a degree in some form of writing and then find myself not writing. In other words, I would rather not be studying how to write and instead be in the act or doing the act of writing, if that makes sense. However, teaching is a very stressful field. If you're committed to the growth and learning of your students, you, or in this case myself, will dedicate all your time and energy to ensure that you and your classroom are ready for the students. Because I was dedicated to my students, I had very little time for myself and zero time to write. I honestly did not get back into writing until after I left the teaching field, so that's like 8+ years because you got to include college as well. I learned the hard way that writing is not the same thing as riding a bike. I couldn't just pick up a pen and notebook and start writing again. I actually had to start from ground zero. This means I had to read. I read in my areas of interest as well as other genres just to get a feel for, well, writing altogether. I also discovered audiobooks, which are a lifesaver because as a mom of 2 kids, I really don't have time to read. Well, maybe now I do. But for the most part, I don't have time to read, and I can listen to audiobooks while I'm sitting at work because I sit in front of a computer all day. And I know I can listen to it in the car during my commute, but I enjoy listening to the radio. I also had to learn how to write all over again. So I was taking any form of free writing courses and reading any nonfiction self-help books by authors. One story idea that came to me during this process is this little book. Wait, I don't have it. Hold on. This little book. As proud as I am to have this book finally in my hands and available for you guys, it took me 5 years to write. This is because I was dead focused on one thing, the point of view. My point of view, to be exact. I wanted it to be perfect. Which brings me to the point of this video. If you're struggling to write your manuscript or get your story moving forward, try changing the point of view. Don't try to be a perfectionist like myself, or else your story may never come out and you may be questioning why for years to come. Instead, if your novel starts in first person, try third person. If your book starts from the protagonist's point of view, change it up and try it from the antagonist's point of view. If your manuscript starts within a home, change it up and start it outside, or take your character to the cafe, the park, or work. The reason I say this is because by doing this, I was actually able to complete my book in 2 weeks. What took me 5 years to think about only took me 2 weeks to write up. That's because for 5 years, I wanted my novel to start up a very specific way. I had a vision for how I wanted it to start in the first chapter, and yet for 5 years, I couldn't even write that down on paper. So I made notes and I ended up writing other projects instead, and I even took up content creation and blogging. In actuality, all I had to do was change the point of view. I originally had my main character outside looking up at her apartment complex, which is the town. And once I changed that up and I put my hero inside the apartment complex in her unit, the story came to life. It was that simple. And I can't believe it took me 5 years to take on this piece of advice that I'm not the first person to tell you guys. So to reiterate, if you're struggling to write your manuscript or get your story moving forward, change the point of view. You may discover something you never would have had you stuck to your original point of view. And this may be the one touch that your story needs. And if you need story ideas, see the description box below, as I have tons of story ideas and other free resources for you guys. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you need other videos on more writing tips and tricks, see the ones on the screen, and I will see you there. Take care and have fun reading and writing. Bye!